Good evening, and welcome to the Baseball and Beer Podcast. I'm your host, John Nee, along with my beer expert and co-host, J.R. Nicholas.
Hello.
So, it's been about 3 weeks since the last time
Been a little bit, Johnny. I thought we were going to do this a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been probably I believe it was after the Mets series last time we spoke to you.
Yes, we were kind of angry.
We were kind of angry back then, but the Phils have kind of righted the ship a little bit. They've won 5 of their last 6 series since that Mets series and the last time we spoke to you.
Yes, they did.
They currently sit 2.5 games behind the Mets, in the NL East. I believe they're the second team in a wild card, which, way too early to even talk about any of this. Last night the Phils played a doubleheader, which was a little disappointing.
Very much, especially last night.
I'm going to get into that a little bit. So before I do that, I'm going to let JR talk about his beer and get a beer in here before I
saved this one
lose
for
my
you,
shit.
Johnny. This is yeah, I understand. He's got a lot of anger coming at you today, folks. Sorry, but we're a little frustrated.
A lot of anger.
Yeah, a little frustrated. Save this one for you. 10-7 Brewing, North Wales, at the North Wales train station. I took my brother-in-law up there to check this off the local bucket list as far as local breweries.
Nice.
And Sean did a whole flight of lagers.
Okay.
And I drank my usual IPAs, which I'm trying to cut back on. But we scored this because it's outstanding. Hellas Golden Lager, 5%. It's called Home. From 10-7 Brewing in North Wales. Place is really cool. They don't have a kitchen. They had the Cousins Lobster truck out there. We didn't patronize, but they are coming back on Father's Day. Cousins Maine Lobster will be at this brewery. I saw it on my Face Crack feed. So I might go up there and get a little lobster roll and drink some more of this here beer.
Of course, you can never go wrong with a Hellas lager.
Dynamite lager.
Absolutely.
10-7.
Absolutely. So let's jump right into it. Let's jump into yesterday's game. So, as you know, we had a doubleheader yesterday. They were rained out Tuesday, I believe.
Tuesday night. Monday was a beautiful
night. It was a shame. They had a chance to take this series. They came up with a late rally to win 2-1 in Game 1.
Yeah.
Luzardo pitched a great game.
Luzardo's solid.
Kirkaren, Alvarado, and Romano closed it out for him.
Romano.
Yeah, Romano's seemed to have turned the corner. I'm going to touch on that a little later on struggling guys and guys that seem to have turned it around. But something that caught my attention in that first game with I think Thompson yesterday, and quite frankly, this series against the Cardinals, and even all year, he's been making some questionable calls.
Absolutely.
Bullpen decisions.
But time and time again.
Time and time again. Yes.
That's your point, yes?
And just the whole, the lefty-righty thing, Stott not playing every day. But what really got my goat yesterday in a doubleheader, so Luzardo gives them 7 innings. The 8th inning, the Cardinals have the top of their order coming up, so he went to Alvarado at that point, which I have no problem with. Alvarado's your top reliever, top of the order, has been pretty good for the Cardinals, so he went with Alvarado in the 8th. The problem I have here is he only let him pitch to 3 batters. You had a righty coming up, so he went to Kirkaren to get out of it. I believe Alvarado had 1 out. With a couple guys got on. Kirkaren got the job done.
Yes.
And then in the 9th, he went to Romano, who had a 1-2-3 9th, and they win the game 2-1. My problem with this is if you're going to use Alvarado in the 8th, you have to use him for the 8th, not bringing in Kirkaren there. And then in the 9th, you could use Kirkaren or Romano, whoever you wanted. The problem with it is, for me, with Game 2 of a doubleheader, Thompson will not pitch his guys in the second game. So basically, he took Kirkaren, Alvarado.
I don't agree with that at all.
I don't either. But
you could use say Kirkaren got 1 batter out or whatever.
Sure, Alvarado, any of them.
Give him a batter or 2. I don't agree with that.
Apparently, that's Thompson's his MO is, and he said it time and time again. He will not use a reliever that he uses in a Game 1. So by putting Kirkaren in there,
which puts you at a disadvantage.
Yes, he took another reliever out of the mix. And it was I just didn't agree with it, and I think that's something that could hurt you in a situation. If that was last night was not a tight game, we know that. The Phillies took a 5-1 lead for Nola. They finally scored him some runs, this and that. But folks, Nola's been awful this year. I mean, he's been absolutely horrible. It is a shame. I mean, he's 1-7. His ERA is over 6. Again, this is where I'm going to hit Thompson up on this. It's 5-1. Okay. Nola comes out in the 3rd inning and gives up 5 runs at 6-5 Cardinals. At that point, for me, he's pitched 3 innings. You got Taijuan Walker down there as the long man. Taijuan Walker can pitch the 4th, 5th, and 6th if you need it. And then you go to your, the Banks, the Ross, the Strom to close that game out if you need to. But no, Thompson decides, I guess, I don't know what he decided, what he was thinking. He decides to send Nola back out for the 4th, and he gave up a run in the 1st. He gave up 5 in the 3rd, and he gave up 3 in the 4th, and pretty much put the game out of reach. Now, the bullpen didn't help them yesterday.
They did not.
They cut it to 9-7, and
the bullpen gave up 8 runs.
They gave up. No, they gave up 9. They gave they gave up 8. You're right. Yeah, yep. Yeah, Nola gave up 9.
I was better at math than economics.
So they didn't help, but that situation there, again, putting Kirkaren in there for Alvarado in the 8th, taking him out of the 2nd game was. I don't think it was the right move, and rolling Nola back out there for the 4th inning. Just you could see the guy didn't have it. I mean, he gave up 6 runs in 3 innings. You got to be done with it at that point.
Yeah. I mean, what are you gonna?
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say you're. This is probably in your further dissertation about Rob Thompson, but Rob should have Rob's seen this before.
Nola's
and he didn't have anybody up in the 3rd, or let alone the beginning of the 4th.
Nope.
When the wheels are coming off,
no, he did
we're
not.
down, but we're only up by a run by that point before it completely fell apart. Nobody's up in the bullpen. Why? Yes. Why, John? Why isn't anybody warming up?
We've discussed.
Why isn't Walker throwing at the beginning of the inning?
He should have been. He should have been
throwing at the end of during the 3rd.
End of the 3rd. Yes, he should have been in the 4th inning. It was total negligence from Topper there. And quite frankly, I mean, I'll give you another example that really kind of struck me as odd was Monday night's game.
Yeah, it was close.
He
it was
pulled
a good game.
He pulled Wilson, Sosa, and Rojas in the 6th inning of a 2-2 game to go with when a right-hander came in to go to Kepler, Stott, and Marsh, all cold, all off the bench when these guys already have two at bats in the game going for their 3rd.
Don't you go with one guy?
I mean, it was
to
me it was like a hockey change. Come on off the ice, guys. Line 1 off, line 2 on. I mean, I never seen anything like that. But
all at once.
I mean, he's hell bent on this lefty righty thing with certain players, and
I think that's overboard.
It's analytical overboard bullshit is what it is.
Who do you leave in? You leave in Wilson, or you leave in?
Kepler's an everyday player. Okay, I mean, he stays in. Sosa's in that game that day. Sosa's pretty much, when Sosa plays, he does well. Sosa should stay in that game there.
Okay, yep.
Maybe if you want to pitch hit for Rojas with Marsh, I'm okay with that because they're kind of, them two are going to platoon all year back and forth. Neither one of them has grabbed the starting job.
No, and Marsh. I mean, want to talk about Marsh's play?
Yeah, we're going to get into him too. I mean, he missed a fly ball yesterday. Yes, it's just been Rojas has been missing fly balls. It's Marchand who. He was out of options, so they took him over Stubbs. Marchand's been awful. I think he's batting 083, and he's not playing good defensively, which makes it even worse. And seeing Nola implode like this. Look, Stubbs and Nola had a good repertoire together the last 3 years. He seems to pitch well with Stubbs. Maybe to shake that team up. Maybe that's an option. Maybe
Stubbs is the guy.
Maybe they need to bring Stubbs back for Nola. Try to send Marchand back down. He's out of options, so someone's going to claim him. But he's not the future here, folks. JT's going to be here. They're going to re-sign him next year, probably year-to-year deal for another year, maybe 2.
Yeah, I like the year-to-year
until Eduardo Tate's ready. Jr. You got a young kid, 19, 20 years old in Clearwater. He's a top 5 prospect. So I think JT's got a couple left. He's starting to hit well too, by the way. JT, he's up to 250.
He had a big
still playing great defensively, as we know.
He hit a home run in last night's game.
I mean, we're in a good spot, folks. The Phillies are in a good spot. I mean, they're 20. What are they right now? They're 25-18, like I said.
We're good. We're good.
Yeah, we're good. We've talked about this before. Look, there's 27 games a month. It's a 6-month season. You win 15 games a month. You have 90. You're in a playoff spot. They were 14-13 the first month. Thought they could have been a little better, but whatever. Right now, I think there's something like 11-5 so far this month, and they got a very, very easy stretch coming up over the next 10 days. I mean, they have 3 with the Pirates here at home, 4 out in Colorado. I mean, that's 7 winnable games. Now, they're pro teams, so you're not going to go 7-0. I don't believe they're going to go 7-0, but I need to see maybe a 6-1 there, 5-2 at worst. And then they go out to Oakland for 3. Now, the A's been playing pretty good, but still, they should take 2 or 3 from Oakland. So, I mean, they're going to be over 30 wins by the end of May here, probably somewhere around 32, 33 wins. So they're on that, they're on that 90 to 92 to 94 pace win total, which would put them in the playoffs. And that's basically, frankly, that's all you're shooting for. I've never been a big fan of the coming in first place, winning your division and having the bye. Well, if the Phillies can win the East, that'd be great. If they're the third seed and play the wild card round. I know people don't like that. Anything can happen in a 3-game series, but for me, like you saw last year against the Mets, you sit down for a week. You go to spring training. You go to spring training for a month and a half. You play games for a month and a half in spring training. Then you play 6 straight months of baseball, and then all of a sudden you just take a week off, and you're going to pop right back into it. This offense, folks, is not good enough to take a week off. They're hot and cold. We all know that. Yeah. They need to be clicking on all cylinders come playoff time.
That's a good point.
And
they can't just turn it on after sitting for 6 days. It's not going to just
We've seen it. Yeah. They can't do it. They're not that type of team. These guys are hot. They're cold. They're never hot together. They're hot. They're cold together. Castellanos is hot. Then he's cold. Harper's cold.
I still don't like the 3-game series, though. That scares me a little bit,
It's scary, but
either way, it's iffy. Yeah.
I mean, here's what I like about this team, and I really think this team is built for the playoffs this year. We know the offense has the potential to go into a playoff series and struggle. Score in a 5-game series, maybe, it goes 5 games, they score 10 runs, 2 runs a game. What I like about this team this year is they have the starting pitching to win a couple 2-1 games and a couple 3-2 games.
They will.
So if this offense hurts them. So I'm not overly concerned with, let's say, a 3-game series against a team, say, like Milwaukee. They were to go into a 3-game. Milwaukee's got to come here and win 2 out of 3 at our stadium. You're going to have Wheeler, Luzardo, and Sanchez, I would imagine, be your top 3. Sure. You'd have Nola, Suarez, and hopefully at that point, Andrew Painter in the bullpen to come. And then Romano, Kerkering, Alvarado, and Strom. That's a pretty solid 10 guys you have right there that you could throw in a team for 3 games. Nobody's going to match that up with the exception of maybe the Dodgers. So I'm not afraid of a wild card series. So we'll go for that. I will knock that down, and we'll jump on to what you got next here.
Are you good? You got to pause? All right, cool. Going to talk about something.
I'm just
real
ranting,
quick.
man.
You're rambling. You're doing a great job there. Going to just talk about this here garage beer that someone was drinking the lime version of. Garage beer. Whoa. Don't know anything about garage beer. Pour yourself a little fill of that.
So the garage beer, I believe this is Jason Kelsey.
Yes, it is. Okay, Travis and Jason Kelsey purchased garage beer. Okay, they're not the owners. They are significant owners and operators. Garage Beer, a small batch brewing company out of Columbus, Ohio. The brothers have significant ties to Ohio. They were born and raised in Cleveland and played college football in the University of Cincinnati. Have always looked for ways to give back to the community. So we love the Kelsey brothers.
Absolutely, yep.
And it made sense. And they said it at the beginning of the article about them with their podcast and all this and beers and events and about the autism foundation and stuff. They're
great guys.
They're great guys.
They got their podcast. And
then they got so they partner up with this small brewery in Ohio, which I knew nothing about. But when I saw somebody drinking the lime version, which is the other beer, they only make those 2 beers.
Okay.
And basically, this is just a refreshing. Let's see if I can get the notes about the beer. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, 4%.
Yeah, it's pretty light.
Okay. It's like a light, only 95 calories. Oh, classic light beer. Yeah, right on
classic light beer. What is garage beer? Blah blah blah. Classic light lager and the lemon flavored one that I said earlier.
That's not my bag.
Both variations have 95 calories, 3 grams of carbs, and 4% alcohol. So this is one of those all-day beers.
Good light beer, drinking all day on a summer day.
Your beach beer.
Yes.
It's pretty light. I liked what I had earlier. This is more substantial lager. I really like this a lot. But hey, you know what? This is your maybe a little bit above average than a Miller Lite.
That's a 10 to 12 beer day.
You try drinking these. These are big boys.
That is a big. We can pound down 10 of them.
Yeah, we can knock a little bit of this down. I like it. I was out doing yard work, so I'm a little hot. And yeah, this is really, really nice. So cheers to the Kelsey brothers and partnering with Garage Beer out of Ohio. So good for them.
Yeah, that's not bad.
It's pretty light, but I like it. I wouldn't drink it. I don't think I could drop anchor with it, but it's
kind of in the Miller Lite, Coors Light, maybe a little better.
I would say so. I think it's better than stuff. But yeah, cheers.
Yep. So, what do you got?
No, we're good. I think I'm done with my little wrap. There was a whole lot to read about. I just wanted to give you the cliff notes out of the article.
Quick ones.
It was actually a review
Which you should be able to find local here too. This beer,
yes,
I
got
believe
this
two
for $7 at the Acme Lawrence Park Shopping Center.
There you go.
Couldn't pass it up. After I saw that guy with his lime version of, I'm like, huh. And he told me about Kelsey and stuff, and I'm like, oh shit, I gotta get this. The next time I was in the Acme, boom, 2 for $7.
Perfect. All right.
Where they sell one of these for probably like $16 in the stadium.
Oh, 16, probably 19 at that size.
I don't know. That's a lot.
Thieving bastards.
I know, it's pretty good. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. So anyway, back to the Phils. Let's struggles. So
here.
we know about Nola's struggles. We just touched a little bit on
Nola,
Marchand. So let's touch on someone who's been getting a pass around here since he's been here, quite honestly, and has been pretty awful this year. Harper. What's wrong with Harper? 232 batting average, and he's just
I was
moping around.
Okay,
and
yeah, Harper's been. I'm gonna just chime in for a second. Harper's been pretty. He's having a rough go. I think he's gonna snap out of it. Hopefully. I thought he did when I was with Joanne in Cleveland, seeing the Indians game on Saturday night, 6 o'clock game. Won't go in the long spiel. We flew up and back.
And that was a good game.
Good game. They had a crap game. Yep. Friday night was kind of a snooze fest.
Yes, it was.
And then Suarez pitched well, and Harper hit a monster home run in that game. And I was like, here he comes. And then I don't think he did much in Wheeler's game Sunday night baseball, which was a great game. Like Wheeler was outstanding, I thought Harper was coming out of it. This week,
I mean,
not doing so well.
He's struggling, folks. I mean, we all know that. Everybody's saying it. A 232 average. He's only got 7.
I'm hoping he can come out of it.
I mean, he only has 7 homers right now. You're almost 2 months into the season, so I think Harper's played every game. So maybe it's time to let him.
He had a DH game when Wilson played first.
Yeah, but he's still getting at bats. So I mean, maybe it's time. A tough lefty coming up this week. Maybe Rob can sit him for a day against a tough lefty, a maintenance day. Call it what you will, but let Harper sit down for a day. Take a look, see what's going on.
Work it into an off day.
I mean, Harper has a history with a bad back, so we know he's probably, he's not a guy that plays 162 games.
If he's hurt at all,
we're not
hearing
about
it.
I don't believe he's hurt right now. I think he's just
struggling, man.
I mean, look, Turner's hitting 300 in front of him, seeing a lot of pitches to hit. It could be the Turner's getting the pitches that would be there for Harper. They're pitching to Turner, and Harper's not getting the best pitches to hit, and they get him out. And then Schwarber seems to be getting some good pitches because he's cranking them out of the park. So, teams don't want Harper to beat them. A manager don't want to be a fool. I got beat by Harper. I mean, me personally, I'd go after Turner. I'd go after Harper. I don't want to be beat by Schwarber. Schwarber hits the ball 400 feet every time. You know what I mean? Harper will strike out a lot. Schwarber will too, but I mean, once Harper gets going, him, Turner, and Schwarber, hopefully they're all going at once. Hopefully we don't get into the old Harper's hitting and Schwarber ain't and Casty ain't.
Yeah, I got a question for you. Are we good with Schwarber in the 4-hole? I think
I think they found the spot for Schwarber in the 4-hole. I do. I think Stott.
I like Stott up front and the Stott Turner flip flop. I'm kind of
not a fan of that. Not a fan of the flip flop.
Yeah, the flip flop.
Again,
that's going to be Topper though. You're not going to win that argument because
my feeling, JR, with Stott. Stott should be playing every day. In my opinion, Mundo Soso is a nice player. We saw that last year when Turner was hurt.
Like Wilson's a bench player.
He is a bench player.
Like
when they play too much, they get exposed. So Mundo Sosa could give Baum 12 games off. Baum should play 150 games. There's 12 games he could play a third. Turner can play $150. 12 more at short. Stott can play $150. 12 more there. You can give Harper 12 or 15 games off, put Baum over at first base, and then Sosa can technically play them games there. So you could find Sosa 60, 65 starts in the infield. He does not need to start 100 games a year, Rob. I mean, you're flopping Turner, you're flopping Stott, the lineup's all over the place. Get Stott in there, get the kid comfortable.
Off the bench.
I mean, you have to in this game. Guys need set positions. The bullpen needs set positions. You need to get these guys into their roles. Look, a guy like Stott and Turner, there is no reason these two should not have 40 plus steals out of the first and second spots up there. Okay? We know Harper's going to hit. We're talking about his slump right now. He's going to hit, folks. The back of the baseball card says that. Okay, he's going to hit. Schwarber, Castellanos, JT's starting to pick it up a little bit now. But look, for me, JT, he's here for his defense, folks. A couple years ago it was his bat. He's getting older now. He's a catcher. They do slow down a little bit, so he should be batting in the 8-hole. And if he gives me 15 homers this year, 60 RBIs at a 250 average, and plays defense like he does, I'm ecstatic.
Yeah, we're
okay,
good.
Rojas and Marsh, for the time being, should be platooning in the 9-hole there. I'm not really worried about the 8 and 9 hole. Okay, that's not losing game. The top 7 guys, Castellanos in the 5th hole, Baum in the 6th or 7th, and Kepler. These are the guys that need to hit. Wilson when he's playing, when he gets in there for Kepler. The top 7 guys need to produce. Anything that JT, Marsh, and Rojas give us out of the 8th and 9th is a bonus, okay? Now, what I do need from them guys, and JT's provided, is defense. Marsh and Rojas have not been this year. They're playing pretty bad defensively, so that needs to pick up.
Yeah, Rojas and Marsh have both had a couple blunders. Marsh more recently.
Yeah, I mean, they just,
Rojas had one where he came charging in and the ball flew over his head.
Absolutely. It's been awful. Look, folks, we know, again, like I said, I mean, this team's going to make the playoffs. I'd be shocked if they didn't. I mean,
I would be too, yeah.
They have the depth. If a pitcher was to go down, you have Andrew Painter down there warming up. He's going to be up in July and August. So, Tawan Walker could be thrown in there in a couple spot starts. Again, we saw that he seems to be a little better this year now that he's healthy. So they have some depth at pitching, so they can withstand an injury there. They could probably withstand an injury in the outfield with, you got Crawford Jr. and Rincones Jr. down in the minors who are doing pretty well. So you got a little depth there. Otto Kemp's a name down in the minors he's got 10 home runs, I think 30-some RBIs. He's hitting like 300. He's in the minors, but, that's depth. If a guy like Baum was
you're right, yeah, people get hurt. These guys can come up.
Yeah, Baum or Stott go down.
They're not going to play every day, but they could be,
Well, I would see a situation where, let's say, for argument's sake, if any one of the infielders were going to out Baum, Stott, or Turner, Sosa would step into that role.
Sure.
They would need a spot, and a guy like Kemp could come up and fill the bench spot of Sosa. So they have depth. You got Stubbs down in the minors.
Yes.
They have depth, so they're going to be a playoff team. And I think they're going to be okay, like I said, with the pitching in the playoffs. And the offense, again, it is what it is, folks. We know what the offense, we've seen it for the last 3 or 4 years now. They're either going to be hot or cold. I mean, you can't change that now. They can try anything they want. The only thing Thompson could probably try a little better, and he has been a little better this year. Look, when you're in a couple of them tight games, 1-0, 2-1, Turner, Stott, Harper, Real Muto, these guys can run. Marsh, you might need the guy leads off with a single or walk, steal that base.
Yeah.
And
I
mean, another thing for me, they don't do enough. We all know this team leaves a lot of runners in scoring position. We've seen it over the years.
Yes.
You got a guy at third base, 6th, 7th inning of a 1-0, 2-1 game. And it's one of the guys that can run for you, a Real Muto, a Marsh, a Rojas, a Harper, Stott, Turner, guys that can run. Get the bunt down. Don't try to get the sac flyer to ground out the second with the infield up. We seem to strike out and pop out an awful lot in them situations.
Yeah, lots of pop.
So for me, get the bunt down. Look, a tie game's better than being down 1. I know you want the big inning, but this team's built for home runs. And right now, to be honest with you, look, Castellanos has 4. Other than Schwarber, Castellanos has 4. I think Real Muto has 3. Harper has 7. Stott only has 3. Baum has 2. We're not hitting homers yet. Now, June, July, August, as the weather turns, becomes hitting season. So
it's hitting season. We're gonna get hot.
I would like.
I want to see him score at least 5 runs a game. Let's pick it up a little bit.
Well, let's hope with Pittsburgh coming up, at least the first 2 games with Pittsburgh.
Based on some shitty pitching, it's gonna be.
I'd like to see them roll through them first 2 games rather easily. Sunday's going to be a tough one. Sanchez against Skeens. So, Skeens is good. He's the real deal. So that's going to be a tight game. And then, you roll out to Colorado for 4. Look, I hate to say, it's hard to sweep a team. They're a pro team. They're a major league team. Colorado has 6 wins. They absolutely stink.
We'll have a clunker game offensively.
We probably have a clunker. Maybe Nola gets lit up by Colorado. Who knows?
In Colorado.
Who knows?
Wouldn't be the first time a good pitcher gets lit up.
But like I said, I think they got a fairly tough, fairly easy schedule over the next 10 games. And the Mets are rolling into the Yankees, Red Sox, and Dodgers.
Oh, wow.
Over their next 9.
Oh, wow. So might not go well for the Mets.
Maybe a spot to catch up and maybe pass the Mets here and then not look back the rest of the year. Take advantage of that.
Well, the Mets, what did I say at the beginning of the season? Mets got to pitch. They're pitching.
They're pitching right now. I don't expect it to hold up.
I don't know.
Some of their starters.
They're offensively pretty sound.
They have a good team. They're good. Look, the Mets
they're pitching really well.
The Mets are the Phillies. The Phillies are the Mets. Einhorn is Finkel. Finkel is Einhorn. The Mets and Phillies, to me, are a similar team. Same kind of offense. Alonso's hitting 300 now. Alonso's going to hit like 230 for the years, folks. He's going to hit homers, but he's going to be at about 230. They're a hot, cold team like us offensively. We have better starting pitch, and I'm convinced of that.
Yes,
that'll show over the course of the year. The bullpen probably even, maybe slight advantage to the Mets for now. So them teams are even. Phillies are even with the Dodgers. I mean, everybody wants to roll the Dodgers out of here. Look, they have the same thing. You have bets.
John.
Yeah. I mean.
Giants aren't going away. Padres are good.
Yeah. They're gonna battle the Padres all year. I think the Giants and D-backs will they're more closer to the 86, 87, win type team.
Yeah.
I think you'll see the Padres and Dodgers in the high 90s, Phillies and Mets, and the Braves started off slow. They're starting to play good now. They're 2 games under 500. The Braves are going to be somewhere like last year, around 86, 87. Maybe make it, maybe not. I think the Cubs are going to take the Central.
Maybe. That division's
Cardinals are hot
now.
but
up for grabs, I think.
Well, you look at the Cardinals.
Reds are relevant.
Reds, Cardinals, Brewers.
Brewers are still good, and Cardinals are playing pretty well too.
Cardinals are playing pretty well. I think over the long.
Nice week and a half, 2-week tear.
They got about what? They won like about 9 out of 10 now, or something.
Well,
maybe 11 out of 12.
They won 9 when they beat us.
Beat the Phils
Monday night.
So they've been putting some wins
Monday
together.
night.
I suspect the Cubs to probably.
Cubs
that.
Cubs can take it.
Yeah, them and the Brewers, I think, would be more closer. I mean, look, it's going to be within. I'm not saying the Cardinals are going to be 10 games back. They might be within, finish 5 or 6 games back.
Somebody has to win that division because I don't think a wild card coming out of that division.
I don't see a wild card out of there. If I had to guess right now, Junior, I'm going to go with the Phillies.
West and somebody in the East.
I'm going to say the Phillies, Mets. I don't know who's going to win the division, but there's one's going to win, one's a wild card.
Right.
I'm going to say the Cubs win the Central. That's 3.
Okay.
I'm going to say the Dodgers win the West.
I'm saying it's up in the air. I don't know who's going to win that division.
I'm going to go with the Dodgers and Padres. Dodgers win it, Padres right behind them. That's 5. That leaves one team. So, like you said, that's going to be a toss-up. Brewers, Cardinals, Braves,
could be like
Giants,
1 of 5 or 6
Diamondbacks.
Yep.
That could be a hell of a race.
Yeah.
So, I don't think we're going to have to worry about that. I think the Phillies are either going to win the East or be probably the first wild card, if not at least the second. So
of course.
I don't think they're going to be within. Look, they're not going to lock a playoff spot up for probably the final week of the season. So
I would like you to be wrong on that.
It's just going to be.
But
and I think them and the Mets are going to be neck and neck all year, and the Braves are going to sit 5 games back the whole time. So it's going to be tight.
Yeah.
It's going to be tight. And
see how the Braves do. Acuna's coming back. They're getting healthier.
Yep. So, like I said, folks, we need look. This team's a good team. We have a lot of flaws, as does every team in baseball. They can be corrected. One more thing I want to touch on. We do have the trade deadline. We'll be coming up at in July.
We'll be talking about this a couple more times easily.
Yeah, we're going to
3
hit
or
it.
4 more times.
We're going to hit it. So for me right now, look, Andrew Painter's on the horizon, so I think we're good with the start and pitching. We can agree with that. Plus Suarez here. And Walker in the bullpen. I mean, we have the start and pitching. The bullpen, I think right now with Romano and Kerkering turning the corner, we're 4 deep. 4 guys I would use in the playoffs.
Yes.
I'd use Alvarado, Kerkering, Romano, and Strom. I wouldn't want to see a guy like Banks or Ross, Ruiz, or even Walker for that matter, in a high leverage situation.
Agreed.
So I think we're 4 strong there. You will have 2 starters in the bullpen come playoff time. It could be Suarez and Painter, could be Nola and Painter, could be Nola and Suarez.
I hope it's not Nola.
I don't think it would be Nola, only because he signed here for 6 more years, folks, and I don't think he'd be receptive to the bullpen. So Suarez is pitched out of the bullpen.
Yeah.
Painter's going to be a rookie, so I think that's the obvious 2 to go there,
Sure.
and that would really make for a good bullpen 6 strong. With that being said, we have some prospects in the minors, and they're all not going to make it up here, folks. Some are going to be blocked, so
they are.
I think I would go hard for a high leverage reliever. Look, I've been pining for a closer
for 3 years
since I've been watching the Phillies. It seems, since Mitch Williams.
Yeah.
Or Bradley. Well, not Mitch Williams. You had Bradley. we had Lidge in there. We had Papelbon was pretty good for us. But nobody's really. I'm not even saying they need a closer. If they were to get one, if the Cardinals
solid arm, because you're going to get yourself the closer guy. Rob's not going to use them,
He probably would. He probably would.
You just need a solid arm out there that Rob could use and have more depth out there.
If my friend JR is right now where Rob wouldn't use a closer.
I pitched last night. You can't pitch tonight.
Then I guess the spot to go would be, I'm going to pull one name out here. We've all seen him plenty of times against the Phillies, is that Kyle Finnegan from the Nationals. He'll be available. He's a solid 2-something ERA reliever. He'd be a guy that probably wouldn't get nothing but maybe a decent prospect, a top 10, and then maybe a low level.
Right.
Another name I'm going to throw out here is a familiar name, an old pal, Sir Anthony Dominguez down in Baltimore, since they're struggling.
Boy, I'm bummed for Baltimore right now,
Yeah,
Johnny.
I mean, they're supposed to be good, but
15 and 25 last time.
yeah, they may be looking to deal.
Dude, they played today. I should look up what happened. They played it. I'm gonna look it up.
They just haven't been good. So
they played the Twins at 12:35 today.
I mean, they may be looking to deal Sir Anthony. I heard his name pop up, so that could be a couple of guys to keep an eye on.
Bring him back.
If the Cardinals were to fall out of it, which they may not by the trade deadline, a name that's been kicked around is their closer, Ryan Helsley. He's a free agent next year. He's going to cost money. The Cardinals, don't seem like they want to pay him a high contract.
And
the Phillies will have the money.
Twins lost.
Twins lost.
I mean, excuse me. Orioles
lost again.
4-0.
Well,
4-0.
Well, that's
final.
That could make Sir Anthony a guy that's available then.
Baltimore scattered 6 hits. And Minnesota had 7 hits, but they got a 3-run third inning, and that game was over like hours ago.
Well, that's again.
And the Orioles are 15 and 27, John.
That's perfect. That could make Sir Anthony. That could make him available, and I imagine he wouldn't cost
White Sox
a whole lot.
White Sox, big surprise.
They stink. So, folks, I mean, Ryan Helsley will be another name to keep an eye on. I don't know if they're going to deal him now that they've suddenly got hot, the Cardinals, over the last 15 games. So, again, that's something to keep an eye on.
Cardinals will be buyers. They're going to want to try to win this.
They
division.
could. They don't.
The division's up
if it's up in the grabs and they're still there, they could.
The Brewers are going to run away like they normally do.
So that's pretty much all I got, folks. I mean, the offense is what it is. I don't really see any changes there. If I mean, unless there was a center fielder that fell into their lap, that Lewis Robert Jr. has been kicked around from Chicago. I heard somebody mention today on the radio Buxton from Minnesota. But he's been hurt. He's like Robert Jr. They're guys that have been injured the last few years.
Well,
that seems to be the Phillies' norm. But
they like to go after.
I mean, possibly, could
Romano's good, and Joe Ross has been good.
Ross has been good. I mean,
we didn't talk about him. He's one of your bullets in the pen, but not your go-to.
Not a guy I want to see in the playoffs.
No,
I'm okay with him during the regular season.
His name earlier.
Maybe Crawford takes over that side. I really don't see them. I really don't see a move on offense. I just don't see it. Who they would replace, where they would go.
I mean, hurt. Somebody's got to get injured.
Yeah, I really don't see a move there. I don't see a move starting pitching. So I mean, it's going to have to be in the bullpen if they make a move. So that's something we'll talk about the rest of the year up to the deadline, folks. And that's all I have for now. We'll try to get back to you a little quicker than we did this time. We had some stuff going on.
Yeah, a lot going on. Spring's a busy time. Maybe after Memorial Day. Maybe Memorial Day.
Yeah, maybe Memorial Day weekend, 2 weeks from now.
They're off on that. They're off on Monday, I think.
We could kick a Saturday night or a Friday night or something. Maybe.
Wait, no, we're not on Memorial Day. I'm thinking the end of the month, right? Oh, no, I gotta look. I don't know. They're off on a Monday. At the end.
How about this? Maybe we'll touch up. We use the end of the month, maybe around the 29th and 30th. I think they finish up with the Braves.
Yeah.
I have tickets on the 29th to the Braves. So
you're getting a hat.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think it is a hat night that night. So maybe we'll see you that Friday night, folks.
Yeah.
All right. Have a great night and go Phils.
Go Phillies. Cheers.